Hi, everyone, and welcome to Sit, Stand, or Reach, an ergonomics guide for each. If this is your first time joining an LSCI webinar, let me give you a little introduction. We are a full service OSHA compliance firm that has a primary focus on making sure that each employee gets home from work every single day. Our slogan is taking safety beyond the standard, meaning that we want to go above OSHA's standards and make sure that our clients are building a safety culture and being safe because they want to and not just because they have to. We want to provide a top-notch service that really makes an impact on people's lives. My name is Emily B., and I am a safety consultant with Lancaster Safety. Today, I am joined by Emily E., who is our online training coordinator. Emily, thanks so much for having me join you today.
Yeah, it's good to be here. We got an Emily Squared webinar.
I love it. As a safety leader, you are responsible for ensuring the safety of your team and the overall workplace environment. So this presentation will provide some valuable insight to ergonomics and how we can properly fit the job to the worker. So today we will be reviewing the importance of ergonomics and how it can really affect you. And we'll also look at a few common risk factors and statistics related to different injuries. And lastly, we'll learn how to conduct an ergonomic risk assessment and the types of preventative measures that you and your team can take.
All right, so let's start off with a definition. What is ergonomics? Well, ergonomics is the science of fitting the job to the worker and then designing and arranging things people use so that the people and things interact most efficiently and safely. If workstations are not appropriately designed to be ergonomically safe, it can lead to conditions for employees. And the most common types of conditions are musculoskeletal disorders.
So the first thing we think of is injuries. Now, employee injuries that are not properly addressed and treated can create a lifetime of pain and discomfort for the employees. And ergonomics can also affect quality and productivity. Believe it or not, if employees are uncomfortable and stressed at their workstation, they're likely to be less productive and the quality of their work might also suffer. Employees are less likely to produce their best work if they are straining to see their computer or if they are overexerting themselves. And also, this can come into play when we think about OSHA. So, in terms of citations and penalties, OSHA doesn't have a specific regulation related to ergonomics, at least not yet, but they can issue a citation under the general duty clause if necessary. So, they have developed guidelines to specific industries to help the employer learn how to assist their employees with this. And if there are no specific guidelines for your industry, there's still plenty of tools and resources available to you.
So what does ergonomics look at? Well, there's a multitude of things. And so remember, we are fitting the job to the worker, not the other way around. Ergonomics not only looks at employee workstations and what tools they're using, but also what motions they're using with those tools. The work environment and physical limitations also play a big factor.
So Emily mentioned this term earlier, musculoskeletal disorders, and we commonly refer to them as MSDs. These are injuries or pain in the musculoskeletal system of the body. And these types of injuries can affect the body's muscles, tendons, ligaments, nerves, all of that stuff. The next few slides, we're going to discuss some of the most common types of MSDs and what the risk factors are. So this chart here outlines some of the most common musculoskeletal disorders and the risk factors associated with it. So take a look at this and really take into consideration your workplace. Something such as tendonitis can be caused by repetitive wrist motions, along with shoulder motions, sustained hyperextension of the arms, and a prolonged load on the shoulders. Pain, weakness, swelling, a burning sensation, or a dull ache over the affected area can result. Carpal tunnel syndrome is a very common musculoskeletal disorder that we see that is caused by repetitive wrist motion, and the symptoms will include pain, numbness, and tingling in the wrist and hands. Keep some of these risk factors in mind when you're observing your workstation and conducting an ergonomic assessment, which we will be going over in a bit.
There's a long list of motions and risk factors that can play a part in an ergonomic related injury. Depending on the risk factor present, there are additional factors that need to be evaluated. So we can look at how often the movement is performed, the speed of the movement, the amount of force or exertion necessary to complete the motion, the type of grip that's necessary, the weight of the object being lifted or moved, body posture, such as kneeling, squatting, awkward positions. And then we'll look at reaching. So overhead reaching, reaching across a table or reaching for equipment, things like that. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, employees who suffer workplace injuries related to ergonomics required more days off the job than those with other types of workplace injuries and illnesses. Musculoskeletal disorders average 11 days away from work, and all other types of injuries average about 8. So that's a nearly 38% increase. So these are things that we need to be taking seriously.
In addition to time away from work, something we also take into consideration is workers' compensation. So, about 33% of all workers' compensation costs are related to musculoskeletal disorders and account for almost 400,000 injuries every year. So, these injuries are very difficult to identify at times because the injuries are oftentimes reliant on the employee's comfort level. So it's important to identify these disorders early because treatments become less effective the longer that the hazard goes on. So every year, employers pay nearly 20 billion in direct costs for MSDs. Now, this does not include the indirect costs. If we include the indirect costs, that increases the total from anywhere from 45 to 54 billion dollars each year. So as you can see on this table here, indirect costs are generally more expensive than the direct costs. So the direct cost of an injury includes the medical expenses, the workers' compensation, and the legal expenses. And the indirect costs are the things that we kind of forget about at times. So this will include things such as training replacement employees, the loss of productivity that is happening, damaged equipment and property, and other issues like lowered employee morale and absenteeism.
All right, so we just threw a lot of statistics at you, which are important. We want you to remember them. So let's take a quick brain break and we'll have an Insta safety poll here. So the question is, musculoskeletal disorders, also known as MSDs or sprains and strains, can be caused by A, awkward positions, B, repetitive motions, C, twisting motions, or D, all of the above. So you can put your answer in the chat box and we'll give you just a second there. All right, and of course the answer is D, all of the above. So awkward positions, repetitive motions, twisting motions, those are all things that can cause those musculoskeletal disorders.
So now that we know a little bit more about what a musculoskeletal disorder is and how it can have a great impact on the workplace, let's talk about how to conduct an ergonomic risk assessment. So this is the first step that we can do in reducing the amount of MSDs and other ergonomic related injuries. Whether the ergonomic risk assessment is part of a physical job or if it's more of a desk-based job, there are some guidelines that we can use to assist you in conducting this assessment. So we want to first conduct a walkthrough of the facility or of your office and identify all the hazards that you see. Think about what exactly the employee is doing and what repetitive motions or ergonomic issues you see. And then interview your employees, see what your employees feel and see what their comfort level is in the job that they are doing. Make a plan to reduce the unsafe conditions or the repetitive motions and implement controls to reduce any hazards. And make sure that your employees know that they are able to communicate any issues or control measures that are not beneficial to reducing these issues. So we want to make sure we're following up with our employees on a monthly basis and performing a mini ergonomic risk assessment as we go. If you've never conducted an ergonomic risk assessment before, we can certainly help with that. So contact us today and we can get you a copy of these forms.
A neutral body position is a comfortable working posture where workers' joints are naturally aligned. So this in turn reduces the stress and the strain on muscles, joints, and other components that ultimately lead to ergonomic related injuries. So you want to make sure that your hands, wrists, and arms are kept straight, in line, and parallel to the ground. Your head is level in an upright position, facing slightly forward and in line with the torso. Shoulders are in a relaxed position and the arms fall so that the hands rest at the side of the body, and that elbows stay in close to the body and are bent between 90 and 120 degrees. Maintaining a neutral body position is one of the most important ways to prevent MSDs and other ergonomic related injuries. So we'll just pause here, do a quick Body position check. Are you slumped over? Is your back in a terrible curve that it shouldn't be in? So maybe just take a minute and try to practice this position so that you don't get injured. Now that we've discussed proper sitting techniques, ask yourself this. Well, like I just said, how are you sitting right now? I bet most of you listening quickly sat up straight. I know that I did. I was always reading it and fixed your posture. It's so easy to go through the workday and forget to check your posture. And after a while, you realize your back and neck start to hurt because you're hunched over. So put a Post-it note on your desk reminding you to check your posture, or just make calendar reminders that'll pop up frequently throughout the day. This will definitely help you in the long run.
I know I sat up a little bit straighter as soon as I heard that because ergonomics is something that we so easily forget. So next, we will be reviewing some other preventative measures that we can take to reduce ergonomic injuries. So we'll talk about chairs, keyboards, a proper workstation setup that all will encourage good posture. So these are administrative steps that should be taken, like fitting the task to the worker and job rotation, and an emphasis on the importance of employee involvement in training. Correct sitting posture. Could your chair be the thing causing you pain? We want to make sure that you have good lumbar support that encourages proper body posture throughout the day. So thinking about your chair should be set at a height that allows you to comfortably rest your feet flat on the ground. Now, for some employees, depending on the height, a footrest can be utilized to allow you to keep this position. And then your torso should be aligned vertically, your thighs will be horizontal to the ground, and then your lower legs will be vertical to the ground.
So you'll also want to maintain proper wrist and arm position with proper placement of the keyboard, keeping the arms at about a 90-degree angle. Keep the mouse in a convenient location in relation to the keyboard to avoid unnecessary reaching. The keyboard should allow for a neutral wrist position, not bent up or down. And then if needed, a keyboard tray could be used to ensure that the upper body maintains a neutral position.
So now let's talk about your monitor. Now, your monitor should be located no further than an arm's length away from your desk in order to reduce the strain on your eyes. So if it's difficult for you to see your computer screen, this could be really beneficial to increase the font size of the computer or use a pair of reading glasses. That way you are not straining your eyes too much. The monitor also should be positioned directly in front of you to reduce strain on the neck muscles. And you can reduce neck strain by ensuring that the viewing angle to the center of the monitor is 15 to 20 degrees below the horizontal eye level. Something that I certainly love in terms of ergonomics is a standing desk. Now, a neutral body position comes more natural to you when you are standing. So this is a great option. Using a standing desk can help to increase energy levels, productivity, and allows for a reduction in the time spent in one position. I personally have one of these desks, and I can certainly say that it was a very, very good investment.
No, I agree. I was going to say the same thing. I got a standing desk a few years ago, and it has helped so much with my back pain and just being able to be up and moving. It makes me not need that second coffee in the afternoon as well. So the overall benefits are great. All right, so let's take a pause for another Insta safety poll. This is just an easy true false question. The top of your computer monitor should be slightly higher than eye level. Is that true or false? So again, you can put your answer down in the chat box. All right, so the answer here is false. So if you got that one right, good job.
So let's talk about taking breaks. Now, we are talking about breaks here for your eyes, hands, and feet. So we really should be taking frequent breaks whenever we are at our workstation. So every hour or so, take a quick 3 to 5 minute break from your desk if you're at a seated position and take a short walk. And this can help to boost your energy levels and reduce fatigue. Now, if you can't take a full 5 minutes, at least get up to stretch your legs, maybe go grab some water or another coffee. Now, every 2 hours, this is when you really should be taking a little bit longer of a walk in order to stretch out your arms, your back, your legs, all of that. Giving your eyes a break is just as important as physical stretching for your body's mobility. So, if you do spend the majority of your day staring at a screen, whether it's a computer, TV, phone, anything like that, it is important to rest your eyes as well. So, let me introduce to you the 20-20-20 rule. This rule allows you to easily remember how to give your eyes a break. So every 20 minutes, look at something that is at least 20 feet away from you for about 20 seconds. And this exercise really helps to relax your eyes, and it only takes about 20 to 30 seconds in total to do that. So even if an employee has a good working posture, staying in that posture for too long can lead to ergonomic injuries as well. Job rotation. If there is a job task that can be potentially completed by 2 or more employees, consider job rotation to avoid stress or strain on one worker for too long. So depending on the task, employees can rotate every 30 minutes to an hour.
A common error that employees commit in regards to workplace ergonomics is not fitting the job to the worker. So instead of picking the tallest employee to get objects from the top shelf, alter their workspace to limit that exposure. Modifying equipment, job design, and layout, and then adjusting for the physical capabilities of workers so that work does not cause musculoskeletal disorders. And then this way, a large majority of employees are capable of performing any job task safely, not just the biggest, strongest, or even the shortest.
So another thing that we're going to take into consideration with ergonomics is reach zones. So while you're performing a risk assessment, ensure that your reach zones are being looked at. You want to limit the distance or the amount of times that you're reaching for items in your workspace by keeping commonly used items, such as your phone or a pen and paper, in close proximity to you. That way you are able to maintain a neutral body position while reaching for it rather than having to overexert yourself.
The one thing too, and I think this comes up a lot in, especially in office setting, is safe lifting techniques. So you think, well, I'm not really going to be lifting anything heavy, but you might. So, in these pictures, Alicia and Marissa are giving us good examples of how to safely lift a box of paper. So the first thing you want to do is address the size of the load. Never lift an object that's potentially too heavy. You want to keep a wide base and then get as close to the lift as possible to avoid reaching. You want to bend with your knees and not your back. Avoid lifting objects over shoulder height. Avoid twisting, especially when bending forward. Use small steps to turn as opposed to twisting the torso. Keep your elbows as close to your body as possible. And the most important, don't be afraid to ask for help. You don't have to be a hero. If somebody's nearby that can help you, just ask them. And you can also use a dolly or something like that to move a heavy object. A good rule of thumb here is to lift like an elevator and not like a crane.
All right, it is time for our third Insta safety poll. So, which of the following is more effective in reducing the risk of musculoskeletal disorders? A, fitting the task to the person, or B, fitting the person to the task? Go ahead and put your answer in the chat box, and let's see what the right answer was. The correct answer is A, fitting the task to the person. We want to modify the task to make it easier on the person and not the other way around.
Another thing that's really helpful, truly in any safety initiative, is keeping your employees in the know. Their involvement is crucial in reducing the risk of ergonomic related injuries in the workplace. Employees are performing the work firsthand and they know the best solutions that are going to work for them, right? So teach and enforce proper body placement, utilize employees in the process of risk assessments, and encourage employees to report hazards and notify supervisors of symptoms related to unsafe ergonomic conditions.
So for all things ergonomics, OSHA has plenty of resources to share. They have a safety and health topic page addressing ergonomics and the following things, such as how to identify issues, potential solutions, and ways to control hazards, training aspects for employers and employees, and so much more. They also have a computer workstation e-tool, and that addresses proper working positions, whether that's sitting or standing, workstation components and how to evaluate them, such as your chairs, monitors, keyboards, desks, workstation evaluation checklist and a purchasing guide, and even the workstation environment itself that allows you to take a look at lighting, ventilation, possible glare, and so much more. They also have resources available to the following industries: hospitals, retail grocery stores, meatpacking plants, electrical contractors, and so many others.
Yeah, definitely check out OSHA's website. They have, I think, so many more resources than people even realize. Obviously, you can check out our website as well. We have our client portal that's for our full service clients where you can access a lot of resources for ergonomics as well.
Yes, absolutely. Lancaster Safety can help you to conduct an ergonomics assessment of your workplace and even train your employees. We specialize in occupational safety and health nationwide, and we can come directly to your workplace to provide training, workplace inspections. We can help create custom written safety programs, help with OSHA inspections, contractor prequalification, and so much more. So please do not be afraid to give us a call and ask about how we can help.
All right. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen in today. And as a thank you for attending our live session, we welcome you to download this free office ergonomics safety poster. This will help remind everyone in your workplace what positions will cause muscle tension and which ones will help you avoid it. There's also pictures that show a few stretching exercises if you decide to implement employee stretch breaks, which we have done internally, and that has been very helpful and fun as well. If you have any further questions, call us at 888-403-6026, and we will be happy to help you. Also, make sure you're following us on social media for more news updates and safety information, or you can provide us with feedback on either Yelp, Google, or Facebook. We truly appreciate your time and hope you'll take advantage of our monthly safety and health webinars. Everyone is always invited to attend, and they're always free. Just visit our website or click the link on your screen for more information. So, Emily, it's been great being with you here today and presenting all of this ergonomic information, and hopefully it was helpful to everybody. And we hope you all have a safe day.